Part 50. The barbarians invaded Niujiao village, but they were attacked. Nuha successfully led a group of people into the territory of Liangzhou and scoffed at the fact that Master Song said that the people of Liangzhou were authentic when he was about to set off. These southerners are all timid as mice, and they can only burrow like mice when they are in danger, but so what? As soon as his iron cavalry came out, all the caves and tunnels were leveled for you. As soon as he entered the customs, he couldn't help thinking of crazy bloodthirsty thoughts. Those southerners were all lambs to be slaughtered, if possible. However, thinking of Tuoba Ren's cool eyes, he had to calm down. Their princes must be evil, so they will listen to the words of the southern man surnamed Song. Let them restrain a little, pull the front as much as possible, and attract the attention of the government. In the end, it is to let them be the bait to implement the plan after that. Nuha doesn't know what the prince's plan is, but since the prince ordered it, he will definitely follow it. Entering the territory of Liangzhou, they followed the topographic map provided to them by Master Song. To avoid being discovered, they walked in sparsely populated places in batches. When it was time to go deep into the hinterland, Nuha gathered his people. That's why they disappeared as soon as they entered the border. Of course, it is impossible for them to stay lurking for too long. They are cavalry teams and they must travel light when they go behind enemy lines. It is impossible to bring too many supplies and things. This has no psychological burden on them. The weak eat the strong. It is something that has been passed down by their ancestors since ancient times. In the eyes of the people of Shishi country, the southerners are like hogs and dogs, and they can let them handle it. They were running out of food, and Nuha took out the map and looked at it. Look for the direction. That's right, this direction goes. It won't take long to run into a village. As long as there are people, it's easy to do, and there's food. Master Song's drawing of this map is finally useful. With a goal, at least they won't be running around like headless flies like before. Last time, the small team under his command was also introduced into the trap by the cunning southerners, and it was completely wiped out by the southerners. It caused him to fail in his apprenticeship and could not raise his head in front of Cha-Cha-Chi. Today's dinner is here. Nuha clicked a point on the map, put away the map, patted his butt and jumped on the horse, and said loudly, "Brothers, there are 2 villages not far ahead. Hurry up early. Today's sumptuous dinner is waiting for us there." The people under his command were all excited when they heard it. They had been chewing jerky for so many days after entering Dayan Country's territory, and they had long since faded out of their mouths. Here comes the bird. Now listening to the general say this, it naturally arouses a lot of ruthlessness. Drive. Nuha took the lead in riding his horse and whipping his whip, and headed for the destination first, and the others rushed out after him. At the foot of Niujiao Mountain is a place called Niujiao Village. It is located in a remote place and the fields are barren. People eat their food while watching the sky. When the weather is slightly better, the harvest in the field is only enough to make ends meet. Because this place is poor and in a marginal area, it has escaped the invasion of thieves and bandits. And the people in the village can still live in peace. A few days ago, the villagers outside brought back a piece of news, saying that the fief of Liangzhou, a man named Prince Duan, said that as long as the village sent young people to that training base, they would be able to eat and wear warmly, as well as take silver goes home. They also said that as long as they learn to build underground passages in their village, they can receive a sum of money and grain to share with everyone. This news made everyone explode. Which is a great good thing. Is that person called Prince Duan the reincarnation of a bodhisattva who saves suffering? How can he give them money and food for no reason and good-heartedness? Some people were happy, but some people didn't quite believe it. Later, the village leader in the village deliberately ran and lay down, confirming the accuracy of the news. Now, no matter what they want to do, just for the money, no one will be willing to do it. So, people in the whole village took action. And in accordance with the instructions of the officials sent by the prince, they began to build the underground passage vigorously. After the young and middle-aged people returned to the village after training, they consciously took up the task of patrolling the village. What they didn't expect was that the underground passage that was built just for a little money and food allowed them to escape. The horse under Nuha was kicking the ground in place. Probably because the reins on the master's hand were too tight, it raised its neck and neighed twice, shaking its head in vain and snorting. Nuha didn't notice the horse's movements at all. He looked at the empty village house in front of him, and an inexplicable anger appeared in his heart. "General, we've all searched for it, but there's no one. Let alone food." The soldiers reported back. They searched inside and out, not to mention people, not even a ghost. Nuha held the knife handle at his waist with one hand, and the veins on the back of his hand were sticking out. He looked around. This village didn't look like a village where no one lived at all. When he just entered the village entrance, he also saw a pile of fireworks lit by half-wet grass and trees. Obviously, these people were still here just now. Maybe they found the traces of their pedestrians and immediately hid. He remembered what Master Song said before, that in the villages in Liangzhou, something called an underground passage was built. They will hide food or valuables in it. And even when the enemy is attacked, in order to avoid danger, they will all hide in underground passages. It seems that Master Song is not lying. These timid southerners are hiding like mice. Perhaps in the hole under their feet. They turned out to be hidden. Did you find any secret passages or something? Nuha asked. The soldier shook his head. We've searched everywhere, but we haven't found any passages or openings. Nuha dismounted, but he didn't believe it. If there were no passages, how could these people hide in the ground? As long as you find the passage, are you afraid that you won't be able to pull out these cowards one by one? However, he searched for a few laps but still found nothing. He began to get restless. Seeing that the sun was about to set, there was nothing here. Could it be that his team is still starving here? For a while, there was really no way to deal with them. He thought about it for a while, then flicked his sleeves, call the brothers to gather and go to the next village. He didn't believe it anymore. He was also muttering in his heart that his team was acting like the wind. And it could be said that it was unexpected. How could these people know that they were coming, and they could hide in advance? When he walked out of the village, he looked back at the wet wood that was still smoking. Why did he burn a pile of wet wood here for no reason? He kicked the unburned firewood with his foot. It was really strange. He had an inexplicable feeling in his heart. The southerners were really strange. He was thinking that the next stop would be better, but he was destined to be disappointed. The village closest to Niuzhou village took shelter before they came, and there was still a pile of wet firewood burning with thick smoke at the entrance of the village. Oh shit! How on earth did these odious southerners find out about their arrival? After being busy running for half a day, the result was nothing, and everyone was angry. Find it for me. Dig 3 feet in the ground and find these rotten mice. Nuha began to jump. He really didn't believe it. This group of people could hide for a lifetime. Everyone obeyed the orders and rummaged around to check. After a while, someone came to report that a half-person high hole was found in the village. Sure enough, it must be the entrance. Nuha was overjoyed. He said, there is always a place for the mice to enter and exit, and now that the entrance has been found, is it not that they are allowed to catch turtles in the urn? Immediately sent a few people down to check, but after waiting for a long time, no one came out to report. The soldiers at the bottom also began to discuss. What's going on? Shouldn't they come up when they're full? We're so hungry that our chests are on our backs. No, I have to go down and have a look. No matter what, let's eat first. It's not right. How can there be no movement for so long? Will something happen? Humph. What's the matter? Those southerners are timid as mice, they just hide. If I encounter them, it's not like chopping melons and vegetables. Everyone had different opinions, and Nuha became anxious. Beckoned to let the two go down and have a look, no matter what the situation is. Report it as soon as possible. After a while, the news finally came, and the two climbed out of the hole. General, 4 or 5 brothers are dead. What? Nuha couldn't believe it. How could this be possible? How could a man from the grassland be killed by a mouse? He was so furious that he grabbed one person's collar. What's going on? Don't tell the truth. The man was trembling, but in the end, he still said all the words. General, the bottom is very narrow and can only accommodate people. Bending down and walking. There are still many complicated passages. The subordinates didn't take a few steps, and found that they were all lying down. When he got closer to the ground, he was completely out of breath. The subordinates checked. Some were hit by a blunt object, some were stabbed by a knife. Before he could finish speaking, Nuha was already in a rage, throwing people aside. Useless waste. Even small southerners can't handle it. The general will go in person. General, no. The other person hurriedly grabbed him. General, the terrain below is complicated, small and narrow. We can't stand up straight. If we encounter an enemy, we can't move below. Even the chance to fight back, no. Only passive beatings. Obviously. The previous few people suffered a great loss because of this. Their prairie people are tall and burly, and they are simply not comparable to the southerners. The underground passage below is too narrow and difficult to accommodate, and the southerners may be below. If they are flexible, they can't do it. And the terrain below is complicated. If they rashly break in again, the ending will be the same as the previous 5 people. No matter where Nuha swallows this breath, in front of them, the southerners are always the same. Those who were slaughtered by them are now unfavorable. He lost 5 soldiers in one fell swoop. There is no way to get them. The subordinates persuaded earnestly. Yes, generals. Don't forget the tasks given by the prince, and don't be impatient. Nuha spat bitterly, since he mentioned the prince. He would never dare to act against the order. That's all. Nuha had to give up the impulsive idea. In the end, he couldn't bear the breath and said bitterly, "Set me on fire and burn all these houses down." Yes. Some people obeyed the order. Others saw the black smoke billowing at the entrance of the village, noticed something wrong, came forward with a bright mind, thought of something, and reported, "General, there seems to be something wrong." Ruha turned around. "What's wrong?" "General, shouldn't the black smoke at the entrance of this village be wolf smoke? There was a pile of smoke at the entrance of the village before, and I thought it was used to inform the news. Otherwise, at our speed, we will come here without knowing it. How could they be avoided by them?" This reminded Nuha. He looked at the place where the black smoke was still smoking at the entrance of the village. There was no wind at this time. The black smoke curled up to the sky. It was a wilderness. It can be seen from a long distance. He chose a high place and looked around in the distance. Sure enough, there were several such black smoke in the distance. I think it was the southerners who saw the warning here, and they all burned. From the wolf smoke to pass the news. In fact, it's not surprising that they didn't see it for a while. The main reason is that the wolf smoke basically started a war on the borders. And the wolf smoke was lit in the beacon tower to send a message to warn. And here, it's just an ordinary village. How can the villagers know how to burn wolf smoke? Therefore, no one thought about it for a while, and now it seems that it is really just as that person said. Yes, this is Ming Yu's trump card. Ming Yu has also specially sent people to train the villagers in each village. As long as an enemy is found to be attacking, the beacon can be lit as a warning, so that the villages along the way can detect it. In order to avoid danger in time, take precautions early, and notify the garrison or the guard to arrive at the rescue as soon as possible. General, our whereabouts have been known to them. It is useless to think about it further. What should we do next? Someone asked aloud. Nuha's face was gloomy, but he didn't expect to return without success because of this reason. Yes, looking at the current situation, even if they move on to the next village, I am afraid they will encounter the same situation. They didn't have much food left. Originally, according to the original plan, they could loot the supplies of the southerners to enrich themselves while marching. But now it seems that this method no longer works. No matter where they go, they are empty villages. Not even a grain of rice is left, they just can't grab anything they want. Yeah, what to do now? You can't let your brothers go hungry. Nuha glanced at the entrance of the underground passage where people were hidden. Maybe he really wanted to go down, catch those people out one by one, and let them hand over the food. The subordinates guessed what he was thinking. General, we are not afraid of anyone on horseback, but if we go down, we may injure more soldiers. More, when did you become so timid? You were actually afraid of these people and passed it on. You can't laugh at the big teeth of others? These southerners are as thin as chickens. Even with their bare hands, I can kill them with one punch. After he finished speaking, he saluted Nuha and said, "It's better for the general to let his subordinates go down and catch them out." Damuel frowned upon hearing this, obviously disapproving of what he said. This Babu So usually doesn't deal with him very well, and when he gets the chance, he wants to ridicule him a few times, but this time it's a big deal, and it's not a joke. Just as he was about to refute him, Nuha laughed. Okay, this is the courage that our prairie men should have. This general will allow you to have a team. And you must capture these mice alive. Nuha agreed to Babu So's request without hesitation. Babu So happily led the order and brought a team of 10. Then he went down to the tunnel. The previous few people must have been accidentally caught in the plot of the southerners. With preparations on their own side, such a thing will naturally not happen. He entered the tunnel with confidence to know that what Damuel said was right. This channel is really too small. I can't even straighten my waist. Only the cat can walk down on the waist. Gee, only southerners are suitable for drilling such holes, and they are all invisible mice. A group of people filed in, and soon they were confused by the scene in front of them. And 7 or 8 passages of large and small size were cut into the wall of this cave. Each has no idea where it will lead. This made Babu so embarrassed. With so many channels, which one should they take? Why don't you go in groups of 2 and go to sea separately? Someone suggested it immediately. Babu So thought about it, and that was all he could do. If he walked one road after another, he didn't know when he would be able to finish it. He nodded. Okay, let's go and check each other first, don't go far. And come back immediately if you find something wrong. He was still a little cautious. A little, after all, what happened to the 5 brothers just now is still in front of you. Everyone responded and went their separate ways. They also knew that there was some danger here, otherwise they would not have lost manpower. Everyone clasped their waists and clenched the unsheathed short blade with their right hand, cautiously guarding against detection. Babu So did not move, he stood on the spot, still holding the knife in his hand. Maintaining vigilance, as long as there was a problem on that side, he would quickly reinforce. Not long after, people came out to report, and some people said that the way they went was a dead end. And they couldn't get through at all. Some people also said that there was nothing unusual, it was just an ordinary passage, no different from where they were now. After waiting for a while, there were still 2 people who didn't come out. Babu So couldn't wait any longer. He clearly decided not to go far. Why haven't these 2 come out yet? Why don't we go and have a look? Someone suggested. Babu So thought so too, and simply agreed. The group walked towards the passage of the 2. And it didn't take long to find that they were both dead. Babu So was startled, and when he stepped forward, he saw that both of them had a short arrow stuck in their chests. The 2 of them were obviously killed in one hit, otherwise there would be no movement. They were all wearing armor. How did such a small short arrow penetrate the armor and kill them with one hit? Babu So couldn't understand it, but he also knew that it must be the people from the south who were hiding in the dark and secretly shooting cold arrows, which made it hard to guard against. He also finally understood how the previous few people died. In this case, no matter how powerful a warrior is, I'm afraid they can't escape, right? What they face is not the unarmed Southerners, but the Southerners who will fight back and kill. Everyone held their breath. They were not afraid to fight for their lives, but if they couldn't find an opponent, they were likely to die under a cold arrow, which made people a little uneasy. Aren't these people a living target? The air is very quiet, and some people have the intention to retreat. Before they go deep, they can save their lives by retreating in time. There are also people who are vigilant around, wishing to catch the Southerners hiding in the dark and cut them into pieces. What should we do now? Why don't we go back first and report to the general? Someone finally spoke up. Babu So glared at him. How did he swear to the general just now? Go back now? Isn't it slapping yourself in the face? I'm going to look forward. Maybe the Southerners are in front. Our dead brothers will always have their blood sacrificed. He glanced at the crowd. If you don't want to go, you can go back by yourself now. As soon as these words came out, even a few people who retreated didn't dare to show it. If they escaped without the Southerners' action, their generals would also kill them.